Have you ever watched someone you used to love, someone who once walked away from you because they saw the storm coming, reach the absolute pinnacle of happiness, while your own life feels like a collapsing house of cards? Have you ever looked at the life they built, the exact life you always said you desperately wanted, and realized you were standing on the opposite side of the world, entirely trapped in a cage of your own making? Welcome to the harsh, unforgiving reality of Prince Harry's world today. This is no longer just a story about a royal exile. This is a psychological thriller playing out on the global stage, and the inciting incident did not happen in a London courtroom or a royal palace. It happened on a quiet, sun-drenched beach in Mauritius. Just recently, aligning perfectly with the emotional weight of Mother's Day in the United Kingdom, Chelsy Davy, the woman who spent 7 of her prime years deeply intertwined with Harry, quietly posted a photograph on Instagram. In the image, she is glowing, holding her third child, a newborn boy named Finn, wrapped snugly in a white blanket. There were no public relations teams orchestrating the lighting. There were no Netflix documentary crews hovering out of frame to capture the vulnerability. There were no strategically timed press releases fed to royal correspondents. It was just a mother, her newborn, and the profound, impenetrable piece of an island she now calls home. For anyone else, this would be a simple, heartwarming update. But for Prince Harry, isolated in his sprawling Montecito mansion, this photograph was a seismic event. The contrast was too sharp, too undeniable. Chelsy Davy, now 40, is a highly successful businesswoman, a former lawyer who built her own ethical African jewelry brand from the ground up. She shares a deeply private, fiercely protected life with her husband, Sam Cutmore Scott, and their 3 children, Leo, Chloe, and little Finn. She looked at the terrifying, all-consuming machinery of royal life back in 2010, boldly declared that it was too crazy, scary, and uncomfortable, and she simply walked away. She did not complain. She did not write a memoir about her victimhood. She merely restructured her entire existence around the word no, and built her own paradise. The internet, never known for its mercy, immediately caught the devastating irony of the situation. Recently, social media platforms and royal commentary channels have been completely ablaze with a singular, echoing sentiment. Chelsy dodged the bullet. The public is calling her the ultimate escape artist. But as the world celebrates her freedom, the glaring spotlight swings violently back to Harry, illuminating the tragic paradox of his current existence. If you read the court transcripts from Harry's relentless legal crusades against the British tabloids, a haunting pattern emerges. In one witness statement alone, he mentioned Chelsy over 100 times. He spoke of his desperate desire for a simple life, his love for Africa, his yearning for peace, and his ultimate dream of raising children far away from the blinding flashbulbs of the paparazzi. He described, with painful accuracy, the exact life that Chelsy Davy is living right now. She got the African sunsets, the privacy, and the quiet family life. Harry, on the other hand, got Montecito, crippling security bills pushing $3 million a year, endless lawsuits, and a life that is far more dependent on media attention and public validation than when he was a working royal. This is the core of the psychological crisis unfolding today. Royal insiders and psychological analysts are pointing out a cruel reality. Harry is likely suffocating under the weight of immense regret. He lost his homeland, his family, his military affiliations, and his oldest friends, all in a supposed quest for freedom. He fought a bitter war to protect his current life with Meghan Markle, yet he finds himself isolated in California, heavily reliant on a small circle of security guards and a revolving door of Hollywood acquaintances who seem to disappear as quickly as they arrive. He is a man who burned down his entire universe to escape the press, only to realize he had moved into a glass house surrounded by cameras. Let us delve deeper into the emotional architecture of this regret. When Harry looks at that photo of baby Finn, he isn't just seeing an ex-girlfriend's child. He is seeing the manifestation of a parallel universe. In his memoir Spare, Harry was devastatingly candid about how much he loved Chelsy, but he blamed the relentless British press for destroying their relationship. He built his entire current identity and his multi-million-dollar legal crusade on the narrative that the media ruins everything he loves. But Chelsea's current life completely dismantles that victim narrative. She proved that you can survive the press intrusion, leave the toxic environment, and thrive independently without turning your trauma into a highly monetized media spectacle. She chose silence and hard work. Harry chose Oprah, Netflix, and a perpetual state of public grievance. Today, as the Californian sun sets over his $14 million estate, the silence must be deafening. He is reportedly estranged from his father, King Charles, who will not take his calls regarding security. His brother, Prince William, is said to have completely severed ties. His lifelong friends, the ones who warned him to slow down years ago, have been banished from his inner circle. He traded unconditional love and generational loyalty for strategic alliances and corporate networking. And now, as the lucrative streaming deals restructure and executives publicly mock him, the illusion of his triumphant American escape is shattering piece by piece. Chelsea's quiet triumph is the ultimate proof of his monumental failure to find true, lasting happiness on his own terms. And as we will explore in the coming chapters, this profound realization is the absolute worst possible state of mind for a man who is about to face the most vicious, coordinated online rumor mill of his entire life. The image of Chelsea and Mauritius didn't just cause a fleeting moment of nostalgia. It held up a brutal mirror to Harry's current predicament, acting as the perfect catalyst for what comes next. Because right as Harry is forced to confront the ghosts of his past and the idyllic life he left behind, the internet has decided to weaponize his present. The storm of the 10 dark things is no longer just approaching. As of today, it has officially broken down his front door. If you are currently scrolling through social media right now, you have probably seen a document circulating called the $80 million divorce dossier. Do you really believe Meghan Markle has a meticulously drafted exit strategy ready to wipe Prince Harry's accounts clean? Before you buy into the internet's most venomous narrative, you need to understand that the truth hiding behind these viral rumors is actually far more sinister than a simple celebrity split. We're about to dissect the so-called 10 dark things, and what you find might completely change how you view the real victim in this digital war. Following the emotional whiplash of Chelsy Davy's idyllic baby announcement, the internet did not just stop at comparing the two women. Instead, it launched a full-scale, weaponized digital assault on Meghan Markle. Recently, YouTube algorithms and Twitter feeds were dominated by a monolithic conspiracy theory dubbed the 10 Dark Things. This is a supposed master list of unforgivable secrets Meghan has allegedly hidden from Harry to maintain psychological control over him. But as a responsible observer, we must separate verified facts from algorithmic fiction. Let us surgically dissect these claims into 4 distinct categories to reveal the machinery of this smear campaign. The most aggressive rumor currently burning through the internet claims that Meghan has already drafted a divorce settlement demanding $80 million and full custody of their children, Archie and Lilibet. Accompanying this is the whisper that her PR team is secretly soliciting publishers for a post-divorce tell-all memoir. What is the fundamental truth here? While legitimate outlets like Vanity Fair and Page Six have indeed reported significant internal chaos within Meghan's media strategy and a pivot towards solo branding, as of today, there is absolutely zero legal documentation of a divorce filing in the California court system. The $80 million figure is a total fabrication, mathematically improbable given their current combined liquid assets, and designed specifically to play into the misogynistic trope of the gold-digging wife. Meghan may be pivoting her brand, but she is not holding a legal gun to Harry's head. The internet loves to resurrect buried monsters, and the second category of rumors is particularly insidious. Social media sleuths have dragged up a forgotten headline from 2021 when a lawyer representing Virginia Giuffre threatened to subpoena Meghan Markle in the civil case against Prince Andrew and the notorious billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. The current narrative twists this non-event into a dark web of complicity, suggesting Meghan has hidden ties to that horrific underworld. Let us be explicitly clear to kill this rumor right now. Meghan Markle was never subpoenaed. She never testified. She has absolutely zero documented legal or personal connection to the Epstein trafficking ring. The lawyer merely suggested her as a person who lived in the United Kingdom and might have heard palace gossip. A legal stunt that went nowhere. Reviving this now is pure character assassination. The third category reads like a script rejected by Hollywood for being too unbelievable. A viral YouTube series currently claims that Prince Harry received an anonymous text message in the dead of night, leading him to uncover secret offshore payments in Jordan and a deeply buried medical scandal from Chicago, dating back to 1999. The story alleges Meghan erased parts of her past that would ruin her royal standing. The truth is that this is peak algorithmic fiction. It is a psychological thriller invented by content creators who monetize hatred. There are no receipts, no medical records, and no mysterious Jordanian bank accounts. It preys perfectly on the public's desire to see Harry wake up from what they perceive as a brainwashed state, providing a fictional, cinematic catalyst for his escape. Finally, we reach the darkest corner of this internet frenzy, the DNA conspiracy. In a horrifying display of boundary-breaking cruelty, tabloids and anonymous accounts have taken the face of Chelsy Davy's newborn son, Finn, and used it to trigger an avalanche of paternity rumors regarding Princess Lilibet. The baseless claim states that Harry, pushed to the brink by seeing Chelsy's legitimate family, is now demanding DNA tests for his own children to use in a custody battle. This crosses every line of human decency. Dragging innocent toddlers into a vicious media war is abhorrent. There is no evidence of paternity disputes within the Sussex household, and this rumor is nothing more than collateral damage in a war for clicks. As we look at the anatomy of these 10 dark things, a chilling reality emerges. Meghan Markle might be guilty of poor public relations, decisions, overpromising on Spotify podcasts, or struggling to build a relatable lifestyle brand. But she is currently the target of a highly coordinated, incredibly vicious digital witch hunt. These rumors are not designed to expose the truth. They are designed to isolate Prince Harry even further. They are engineered to make him feel that the world is a hostile, terrifying place, and that everyone is hiding something from him. But if you think Meghan is the only one with a credibility problem, you are gravely mistaken. Because while the internet is busy spinning fairy tales about Jordanian bank accounts, Prince Harry has been generating his own very real, legally documented disaster back in London. And as we will see in the next chapter, the greatest threat to Harry's narrative is not a YouTube conspiracy theory. It is his own testimony under oath. If you firmly believe that Meghan Markle is the singular source of all the chaos surrounding the Sussexes, you need to redirect your attention across the Atlantic right now. Because while the internet is busy fabricating wild tales about $80 million divorces, Prince Harry has been quietly setting fire to his own credibility in a London courtroom. A massive truth bomb has just detonated within the British legal system, and the person who lit the fuse wasn't Meghan, it wasn't the tabloids, and it wasn't the royal family, it was Prince Harry himself. To fully grasp the magnitude of this self-inflicted disaster, you have to understand the foundation of Harry's post-royal existence. His entire post-palace identity has been defined by one overarching mission: a holy war against the British press. He has spent millions of dollars and years of his life fighting Associated Newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail. His entire legal and moral argument rests on the claim that he is the perpetual victim of a ruthless media machine. He claims the press illegally intruded on his life, ruined his past relationships, and that he despised the media so profoundly that he strictly avoided any personal relationships with journalists. Under oath, while standing in the witness box, Harry explicitly stated, under the threat of perjury, that he was not friends with any journalists. He testified that he had no idea if he had communicated with reporters on Facebook, and he specifically swore that he completely cut off contact with a journalist named Charlotte Griffiths, the absolute second he discovered her profession. But courtrooms deal in cold, hard evidence, not emotional memoirs. And as the final submissions wrapped up and the shockwaves rolled in, the defense dropped an absolute nuclear weapon on Harry's meticulously crafted narrative. They entered a set of highly personal, incredibly flirtatious Facebook messages into evidence. These messages were not hacked or stolen. They were voluntarily exchanged between Prince Harry and Charlotte Griffiths, the very journalist he swore he had immediately disowned and cast aside. The transcript of these messages is staggering when compared to his sworn testimony. The records clearly show that Harry initiated the conversation. He willingly handed over his private phone number. Over the course of 7 weeks, spanning at least 4 separate dates, they exchanged messages that completely shattered any illusion of his disdain for the press. He affectionately referred to her as Sugar. She called him Mr. Mischief and H-Bomb. He casually wrote about missing their movie snuggles. He signed off his messages with moi and a string of kisses. Phone records even showed texts and a call placed at 2:50 in the morning. Let that sink in for a moment. This is not about the morality of a young, single prince flirting with a woman in his 20s. That was entirely his prerogative at the time. This is about a man who stood before a high court judge, swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and built a multi-million-dollar lawsuit on the premise that he abhorred the press and kept them at a strict arm's length. Every single pillar of his sworn testimony regarding this specific relationship, that they met only once, that he had no idea about the Facebook messages, that he was emphatically not friends with journalists, was completely and utterly contradicted by documented, undeniable evidence submitted to the exact same court. The consequences of this revelation are legally and publicly catastrophic. Legal analysts and royal commentators are watching the collapse of his case in absolute disbelief. The Spectator's Alexander Larman bluntly stated that the messages belie Harry's statement in the witness box. Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast noted that this evidence makes Griffiths the most credible royal reporter in the entire case. Why? Because her defense, that she obtained information through legitimate social access and friendly interactions rather than illegal phone hacking, just had a mountain of indisputable proof dumped directly on top of it by Harry's own past actions. Harry spent years lecturing the world on truth and misinformation, only to be caught in a massive, documented contradiction. And here's where the tragedy circles back to the very beginning of our story. In a separate, ongoing lawsuit against the Mirror Group, Harry mentioned his ex-girlfriend Chelsy Davy an astonishing 118 times, desperately trying to prove the press killed their love. In that same testimony, he mentioned his current wife, Meghan, a mere 5 times. 118 to 5. He is fighting a war based on the ghosts of his past, trying to rewrite history to cast himself as the eternal victim. But the court transcript does not lie. It paints a devastating, undeniable picture of a man still haunted by the woman he lost, fighting a war he started, and bleeding from a fatal credibility wound he just inflicted upon himself. As we process this self-inflicted legal disaster, the harsh financial reality of Harry's crusade is beginning to bite. You cannot fund a relentless war against the press, sustain a massive Californian mansion, and pay for elite, around-the-clock private security with a shattered reputation and a dwindling bank account. The money is drying up, and as we will uncover in the next chapter, the walls are closing in not just in the London courtrooms, but in the corporate boardrooms and the royal palaces. The ultimate ultimatum has just been delivered, and Prince Harry is rapidly running out of places to hide. When multi-million-dollar corporate contracts begin to evaporate into thin air, and the harsh reality of self-funded independence finally sets in, a person's natural instinct is to turn back to their family. But for Prince Harry, the majestic iron gates of Buckingham Palace are currently proving far more difficult to breach than any high-tech security system in California. Welcome to the grim financial and diplomatic reality. If you thought the courtroom disasters were damaging, you need to look at the ledgers and the royal decrees that are currently suffocating the Sussex Empire. Let us put the conspiracy theories aside and look at the brutal, verifiable mathematics of Harry and Meghan's current situation. Freedom, as it turns out, is exorbitantly expensive, and the initial gold rush of their royal exit is officially over. We all remember the massive $20 million Spotify deal signed in December 2020. That deal was unceremoniously terminated after just 12 episodes, punctuated by a Spotify executive publicly labeling the couple as grifters to millions of listeners. It was a humiliating blow to their brand equity. Netflix, once their most lucrative benefactor with a reported $100 million deal, has significantly restructured their arrangement. Following a string of underperforming projects like Heart of Invictus and the quickly forgotten Live to Lead, the streaming giant downgraded their partnership from an exclusive equity deal to a mere first-look arrangement. Internal sentiment at Netflix reportedly boiled down to 2 devastating words: "We are done." Even Penguin Random House, the publisher that paid a massive advance for Harry's explosive memoir Spare, is reportedly walking away. Publishing insiders confirm that despite selling over 6 million copies, the enormous advance, combined with marketing, printing, and ghostwriting costs, means the publisher took a financial hit. They are entirely uninterested in future Sussex projects, including Meghan's rumored leadership book, because the couple has simply run out of fresh, marketable grievances. While the revenue streams are rapidly drying up, The outbound cash flow is a raging river that threatens to drown them. The couple is burning through an estimated $2 to $4 million a year on private security alone. Property taxes on their sprawling Montecito estate push $300,000 annually, not to mention the exorbitant staff costs, public relations retainers, and the tens of millions bleeding out through Harry's endless, and now heavily compromised, legal battles. The Archwell Foundation has been gutted, restructuring into a fiscal sponsor model with a mass exodus of staff. Over 25 key employees have resigned since 2020, including their most loyal aides and at least 11 public relations professionals, painting a picture of an incredibly volatile and demanding work environment. The financial walls are rapidly closing in, and the desperation is beginning to show in their every move. This intense financial and professional pressure brings us to the most crucial diplomatic development happening right now. Harry is reportedly desperate to bring his family back to the United Kingdom to participate in the countdown events for the Invictus Games in Birmingham. More importantly, he is seeking a high-profile reconciliation meeting with his father, King Charles, at the royal Sandringham estate. But the monarchy has not survived for 1,000 years by being sentimental or easily manipulated. Buckingham Palace has just delivered a brutally firm, non-negotiable ultimatum. Sources close to the palace have leaked that King Charles and the royal machinery have drawn an absolute line in the sand. They will not allow the historical sanctity of Sandringham or the crown to be utilized as a commercial backdrop for Meghan Markle. The palace is acutely aware that Meghan is desperately trying to salvage her struggling lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, and her associated Netflix cooking and lifestyle projects. The royal decree is crystal clear. If there is even a hint of Netflix cameras, commercial photographers, or any covert attempt to monetize the royal reunion to sell jam and table linens for American Riviera Orchard, the gates of Sandringham will remain permanently locked. The king is protecting the institution, refusing to let the monarchy be reduced to a reality television prop to prop up a failing Californian business. This ultimatum places Prince Harry in an impossible, soul-crushing dilemma. On one side, he has his wife, whose entire American commercial strategy relies heavily on maintaining a fragile, proximity-based connection to the royal sparkle, even while actively playing the victim of it. She reportedly demands that Harry keep his distance from the very institution that provides their remaining global relevance, viewing the United Kingdom as a hostile and unsafe environment. On the other side, Harry is staring at his evaporating bank accounts, his crumbling public credibility, and a deep, undeniable yearning for the protection, the prestige, and the unconditional identity that only his family and his homeland can provide. He is entirely trapped between the relentless commercial ambitions of his wife's Hollywood public relations machine and the impenetrable, unforgiving stone walls of the British monarchy. He cannot satisfy both, and as the financial pressure mounts and the royal doors remain bolted, a strategic shift is happening within the Sussex marriage itself. As we will explore in the next chapter, they are not heading for a traditional divorce court. They are executing something far more calculated and legally complex to survive the impending collapse. If you are currently sitting on the edge of your seat, endlessly refreshing your news feeds and waiting for tabloids to drop the ultimate bombshell that divorce papers have finally been filed in Los Angeles County, you might want to get comfortable. You are aggressively looking for the wrong kind of split. Harry and Meghan are much sharper and far more strategic than the dramatic internet narratives suggest. The real game they are playing right now is much more calculated, and it all revolves around a concept known as the creative divorce, ticking down to a very specific, legally explosive date on the calendar. May 19th, 2028. Let us look at the verifiable, documented trajectory of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex over the past 18 months, leading straight up to today. The impenetrable united front, the two of them gripping hands tightly at every single public engagement, mirroring each other's every word and movement, has quietly, surgically vanished. We are no longer watching a joint enterprise. We are witnessing a deliberate professional decoupling. Public relations experts and elite crisis managers call this a professional split. Meghan has retreated almost entirely into her solo commercial ventures. She is desperately pouring her energy into breathing life into her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, filming her solo Netflix cooking show, and attempting to cement herself as an independent, relatable Hollywood mogul. Harry, conversely, is scrambling to salvage whatever is left of his royal-adjacent reputation. He is traveling the globe, making brief, highly controlled appearances in the United Kingdom, touring parts of Africa, and attending various American summits, almost entirely alone. He is heavily leaning on his Invictus Games patronage and his philanthropic work with veterans, desperately trying to remind the public of the charismatic prince he used to be. By radically decoupling their public brands, they are attempting to insulate themselves from each other's radioactive failures. If Meghan's jam and lifestyle business completely flops, the strategy is that it doesn't drag down Harry's global charity work. If Harry's legal credibility implodes in a London high court, it doesn't soil the launch of Meghan's new homeware line. It is a firewall built out of necessity. But why maintain the facade of the marriage if their paths, their brands, and reportedly their daily lives are diverging so drastically? Harry himself scoffed at the rumors during the Dealbook Summit, joking that the press had already divorced them 10 or 12 times. Meghan recently compared their marriage to a game of Super Mario on a podcast, framing them as a resilient team overcoming endless external obstacles. They maintain the shell because they both acutely understand one brutal truth. Their remaining commercial value, however diminished, is inextricably tied to their status as the renegade royal couple. A messy, highly publicized, venomous divorce right now would be mutually assured destruction. It would obliterate their brand equity entirely. However, there is a much deeper, far more pragmatic, and heavily guarded reason for keeping the legal marriage completely intact, and it is buried deep within the California Family Code. This is the ticking time bomb that every high-asset divorce lawyer in Los Angeles is watching with bated breath. Harry and Meghan were married on May 19, 2018. Under California family law, specifically Section 4336, a marriage that lasts for 10 years or longer is officially classified as a long-term marriage. This is not merely a symbolic romantic milestone. It is a massive, permanent legal threshold. If a couple crosses that 10-year line in the state of California, the financial architecture of any future divorce changes permanently. The court essentially retains indefinite jurisdiction over spousal support. There is no automatic, fixed cutoff date for alimony. The wealthier spouse, or the spouse with higher earning potential or familial wealth, could potentially be on the hook for financial support indefinitely. The judge maintains the power to extend, modify, or reinstate spousal support at any point in the future. Right now, they are rapidly approaching that critical 10-year threshold. Meghan Markle is a highly intelligent, incredibly strategic woman who deeply understands the leverage of Californian law. Why on earth would she file for a messy, highly contested divorce at the 8-year mark, when waiting just a couple more years guarantees a completely different legal landscape and vastly superior financial security, regardless of what any prenuptial agreement might say? So, what we are watching play out on the global stage is a high-stakes, meticulously calculated waiting game. They are executing a creative divorce in the court of public opinion to save their individual careers, while strictly maintaining the legal boundaries of their marriage to protect their long-term financial interests. The Sussexes are legally bound, financially tethered, yet professionally and seemingly emotionally separated. It is a sterile, corporate arrangement that stands in jarring, almost tragic contrast to the sun-drenched, genuine, uncomplicated joy emanating from Chelsy Davy's life on the other side of the world. Harry may not have signed divorce papers, but he has signed up for a prolonged, incredibly lonely holding pattern. And as we will conclude in our final chapter, the absolute heaviest price he is paying for this strategic survival is not measured in millions of dollars, but in the devastating, crushing reality of his total isolation. Look back at the chaotic, unprecedented 6-year journey since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle officially stepped down as senior working royals. When you strip away the polished Oprah Winfrey interviews, the highly edited Netflix docuseries, and the heavily ghostwritten memoirs, what exactly did Harry get in exchange for giving up his birthright? He traded a 1,000-year-old monarchy for a luxurious but incredibly empty mansion in California. He traded a life of duty for a life of extreme, suffocating isolation. As we close this investigation today, we must recognize that the ultimate tragedy of Prince Harry is not a depleted bank account, a collapsed podcast deal, or even a potential Californian divorce. It is the absolute, crushing reality of his self-inflicted exile. The statistics of his isolation are staggering and completely verifiable. Since establishing their new life in America, a reported 25 staff members have resigned from the Sussex organization. Archewell, the philanthropic foundation that was once touted as a vehicle to change the world, has been restructured so drastically that it sometimes resembles a ghost ship, bleeding public relations, professionals and key aides who simply cannot endure the turbulent, demanding environment. But the professional abandonment pales in comparison to the personal voids. Prince William, the brother who walked behind their mother's coffin with him, reportedly refuses to even speak his name. King Charles is keeping a rigid, legally advised distance to protect the crown. Harry's oldest, most fiercely loyal friends from Eton and the military, the men who knew him long before he was a global brand, have been systematically banished for daring to question the speed of his relationship with Meghan. Today, Harry is an island. He is a prince who once commanded the respect of veterans and the adoration of a nation, now reduced to delivering occasional speeches at corporate summits. He is surrounded by Hollywood executives who view him as a declining asset, security guards he pays to protect him, and a wife who is rapidly building a separate professional universe. The deepest irony of this entire saga lies in Harry's relentless pursuit of privacy. He launched a multi-million-dollar legal crusade against the British tabloids, dragging himself into witness boxes and shattering his own credibility, all under the banner of protecting his family from media intrusion. He claimed the press destroyed his life. Yet, to fund this war for privacy, he completely commodified his own trauma. He sold his brother's private text messages, he wrote about his father's intimate pleas, and he laid bare his deepest grievances for public consumption. He fought the media machine by creating an even louder, more intrusive media machine of his own. He became a captive to the very monster he swore to destroy, forced to constantly feed the content beast just to keep the lights on in Montecito. Now, bring your mind back to where we started. Bring it back to the quiet, sun-drenched beach in Mauritius. Picture Chelsy Davy holding her newborn son Finn. She faced the exact same terrifying press scrutiny that Harry did. She experienced the phone hacking, the trailing photographers, and the suffocating pressure of the royal orbit. But she did not spend 6 years fighting phantom battles in courtrooms. She did not sign a $100 million deal to complain about her in-laws on a streaming platform. She proved that the only way to truly win the game against the tabloids is to stop playing it entirely. She simply looked at the madness, decided it was not worth her peace of mind, and walked away. She built a successful business with her own 2 hands. She built a family in absolute privacy. She achieved the exact dream that Harry described 118 times in his sworn testimony. A simple, quiet life in Africa, far away from the cameras. She got away. He did not. Harry, trapped in his endless cycle of victimhood, never learned that lesson. He kept rolling the dice, and now the house is finally taking everything. The viral lists of 10 dark things and the internet conspiracy theories about Meghan Markle are, for the most part, a distraction. They are symptoms of a public that is desperately trying to make sense of a man who seemingly threw his entire life away. The truth does not require a secret Jordanian bank account or a hidden DNA test. The truth is playing out right in front of us. Today, Prince Harry does not need a judge to hand down a sentence. He is already serving a life sentence of isolation in a prison built entirely by his own hands, walled in by his own choices, and guarded by the ghosts of the life he left behind. We have laid out the facts, the court transcripts, the financial realities, and the legal strategies. Now, the verdict belongs to you. As you look at the stark contrast between Chelsy Davy's genuine happiness and Prince Harry's current predicament, what do you see? Is Harry the ultimate victim, a manipulated fool trapped in a toxic narrative? Or is he finally paying the fair, inevitable price for a series of reckless, selfish decisions? Drop your thoughts, your theories, and your verdicts in the comments section below. We want to hear exactly where you stand on the tragedy of the Sussexes. Do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the stories the mainstream media refuses to touch. Thank you for joining us on this investigation. Until next time, stay sharp and keep questioning the narrative.